Hello, everyone. Last time we talked about sacred space and touched a little bit on the principle of pilgrimage. Pilgrimage is basically the spatial and meditative movement from the common to the sacred. It's the process whereby one moves through space from a location of everyday life to a location of an uncommon and special interaction with the divine. But that common and special interaction is not reserved just for when you arrive at a fixed point. It's included in the process of getting there. As many bumper stickers often say, it's not just the destination, it's the journey. In a manner not particularly associated with religious ritual, you experience this whenever you go on vacation, visit relatives, or even just commute to work. The mentality of where you're headed and why you left home in the first place begins to set in. You start developing an anticipatory either excitement or dread based upon what you expect to encounter at journey's end. If it's excitement, you spend that time in transit thinking about all the fun things you'll do on vacation. If it's dread, perhaps you spend the time thinking about how you'll navigate interaction with a difficult relative. Either way, the journey is integral to the process. Seldom can this be more true than when it comes to the use of the sacred to interact with God. In any religious mindset, the moment sacred space is acknowledged, the phenomenon of pilgrimage will exist simultaneous to that, because there is then sacred space that is differentiated from common space, and the movement toward the sacred from the common is the spatial, prayerful, and meditative journey getting there. We're not expecting to engage sacred rites once we get there, only to just engage sacred rites by the time we get there. The pilgrimage is part of the sacred rites. Sometimes the more difficult the journey, the more sacred it becomes, because the pilgrim is having to exert an even greater energy cost as part of the process. We oftentimes say what costs you nothing is worthless to you. Therefore, what costs you more in terms of effort, exertion, pain, ordeal, difficulty, that makes it even the more meaningful. And so that's why pilgrimages will take on various different forms. It's not just air travel. It can be anywhere from whether you're crawling up the steps in Rome or if you're going along a long journey, going through difficult topography, or the difficulty of getting in and out of a place where you're having to take trains, planes, trains, and automobiles. The difficulty and the sacrality of it are linked together. Some may say, well, okay, sounds good, but I don't have money and time to take a trip to the Holy Land or hike the Camino de Santiago in Spain. I understand that objection, but consider that the principle of pilgrimage is actually always going on. Remember that I referenced earlier vacation trips or commutes to work? From the standpoint of Christian worship, the principle of pilgrimage always applies. Think about any given Sunday. Your pilgrimage actually began long before you got in the car. It started with your morning routine. Did you think about who you'd see in church? Do you shower and brush your teeth as part of a cleansing process to prepare for worship? Many cultures have those type of rites as part of your personal cleansing, preparing to encounter the holy. Many cultures have a routine that involves the ways in which you plan ahead for what you bring to the table, what you take there. Did you write a check that morning on preparing to participate in the offering plate that passes by? These are part of your preparations on the way. And that pilgrimage started as part of you before you even left the house. And think about all the other ways that you possibly plan ahead. Then when you got in the car and started the journey, that was just phase 2 of the pilgrimage. Did you play music in the car? Does it help you to get in the worship mood? Maybe it's not the best time to get in an argument with your spouse or the children, or that guy that cut you off on the road. Does getting angry with him or her help you get in the worship mindset? Probably not. These are all ways in which you think about and get in the mindset, the attitude, the mentality of interacting and encountering the divine on your way to sacred space. And that principle of pilgrimage is going as part of your worshipful lifestyle. The point is not to shame any of you into calling your travel agent so to take some far off trek through the Himalayas. Instead, it's simply to make you aware that the principle of pilgrimage is always there for you to take advantage of it. Anytime you are moving from the common spaces of daily routines of life towards sacred spaces and expecting an encounter with God, the pilgrimage is part of the ritual. The journey is integral to the encounter, and the pilgrim is always moving toward Jesus Christ. Anyway, that's all I wanted to share for now. I hope you have a wonderful day.